Welcome to Check In with Jason Lauritsen, where we explore how to create human, connected workplaces that employees love and that fuel organizational success. Now, this is the last episode of 2025. We're recording this mid-December, so we're about to kind of head into the holidays when the wheels come off of everything and people start shutting things down and we get really obsessed about where we're going to be and where we're going to go and what the weather's going to look like and all of that, right? Holidays stress is going to overtake everything here shortly. And so we thought we would sneak this in. And so it is the end of the year, it's the holidays, and so it's a special occasion. And so to mark this special occasion, I wanted to have an extra special guest to send us off into 2026, right? To have a wonderful, delightful holidays, to set us up for a great new year. So I invited one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth to join us for this conversation so that we can hopefully have something that leaves you smiling and leaves you thinking a little bit as we head off. And so, of course, my guest today is none other than my favorite daughter, Bailey. Now, this is her second appearance here on the podcast. I think she may be the only repeat guest that we've ever had. And I think that's partly because I love talking to you. And I get to make decisions about this sort of thing, but also because last year, you joined me for a conversation around the same time, and people really enjoyed that episode. So I am delighted to bring you back. So welcome back to the podcast, Bailey.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
Well, let's wait and see how painful it is, and then you can decide. So, I'm saying for you, I like it's going to be delightful for me. So for context, Bailey is a senior in high school this year. So she is planning to head off to college next year after she graduates. And I wanted to kind of invite her here to pick her brain like we did last year. We talked a little bit about your perspectives on work and sort of what you've learned about working. You've been working for a while now. Your first job was between, I think, freshman and sophomore year, right? And so it's been now 2 or 3 years of work experience, and you've had an interesting year of work experience. So we'll talk about that and what you've learned this year. I also want to talk a little bit about career, kind of how you're thinking about college and what comes next in the context of your career and what you're going to do. And I also want to hear kind of what's going on with your friends, how they're thinking about it. And then we might talk a little bit about AI, because anymore it's almost a requirement in any podcast to talk about AI. So we're going to have to talk about it for a minute. I want to hear what you think about that. So that's the agenda if you're curious what we're going to talk about. So I want to start with work, because over this past year you had, I think, some interesting experiences. You're a lifeguard, or you have been a lifeguard. And so you had some interesting experiences over the summer. You then have kind of been on and off, and now you're transitioning and thinking about doing something else, something different after being a lifeguard for 3 years. So I also want to say, like, you had a class at school, a human relations class that's about kind of the dynamics on how people interact that got you thinking about work. So first question for you is, since over the last year, what are the kind of key things that you've learned about work, or maybe just things that have happened that maybe you've learned from this year about work?
I think that you have to prioritize your people, and communication is like one of the top things that you need to prioritize, because with what I've experienced is if you don't prioritize the people that work really hard at your organization and like try their hardest, then you might not realize it, but they've already checked out. Like, I broke my toe back in September or August, and I was at work. So yeah. I had to do the whole workers' comp thing, and my boss, and like, she checked up on me once, and then I never heard from her again, checking up on my toe or medically wise. And then I'd missed a lot of work. She had to cover my shifts. Like, she had to find people to cover my shifts. And then I also missed another big in-service, and I tried to figure out how I could cover that. I never received another response. And I just realized that if they are not going to prioritize you or prioritize communicating with you and getting you in there and getting you comfortable and like still happy to be there and checking in with you, then it's not really worth, like, being there is not worth your time. So
that's a big one.
Yeah.
And you weren't asking for a lot. I mean, when you say like prioritizing, you're just saying, I would just like a reply to
a response. Yeah. I was left undelivered. I don't think she might have read them. I don't know. I never received a response. So
that's a bummer.
It shows where her priorities are at. And we've seen that there's a lot of big people, like head guards, that have ended up quitting and not coming back. And it's showing with the people that are coming back to that place or who are leaving. So
communication's a big deal.
100%.
Following up with people is a big deal. Checking in with people, important. Okay, so you have decided you're not going back there. Mm-hmm. You're going to look for a new job, a new part-time job.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, I know the type of work doesn't really matter. I know you are thinking you want to be a hostess in a restaurant. But like when you think about now looking for a job, even as a part-time job, what would you hope you find? Like what's important to you beyond like, obviously you want them to pay you a decent wage, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, what are the things that are important to you? What do you hope to find?
I think I want to see like an environment where the people who work there are actually happy to be there, and like you can see that they're not absolutely miserable. I mean, one part of like being at work is you're putting on a show, and you're kind of like, at least where I've worked, is you're putting on a show and you're acting like you're happy to be there, and like whenever you're interacting with people, you're being as positive as you can. And then because at the Y, that's like how they wanted you to look, is like if someone comes up and talk to you, you are going to be as professional as you can be. And I think it goes beyond that with showing like if you're happy or not. So like if you saw two guards that are just like friends and they're having fun with each other, you were able to see that, and then you could tell the difference. And I want to be able to go somewhere and be able to see the difference between people who are putting on a show and being like acting like they're happy to be there, and then people who are actually enjoying their jobs, and like you can see that they're getting treated well by management and getting communicated with. And I think it's like once I get to like the interview process and like that, I don't have to be the person texting them first and then hoping for a response rather than them texting me first and being like, or like it just being like a two-way street. Like I'm able to text them first and they're able to text me first. So then there's easy communication there. And then that not stopping after the first couple weeks.
Right. Once you're settled in, they assume they don't have to communicate. I don't think I haven't heard you say this, but I love the phrase putting on a show at work, because I think that'll resonate with a lot of people, because that happens all the time. And there's leaders at lots of levels within, even as you get farther in your career, that they want their employees to come in and put on a show, to look like they're working hard or having fun or enjoying it. And what you're saying is like, why not just create a place where you actually can do that? Like, so do you have a sense of like how you'll evaluate that when you start like applying for jobs? How will you know?
A big thing with like people my age is like vibes, and we always talk about it, and it's like the vibes of this place are off. And sometimes you can walk in and you can kind of sense it. It doesn't happen everywhere, but sometimes you can walk in and you can sense a vibe where it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. And then sometimes there's a vibe where you're like, okay, I really like this place. Like, I really enjoy being here. Like, for example, at the Gretna City pool, we were just happy to be there because it's a tiny little pool. You have a couple coworkers, and then you have a close bond with everyone.
Yeah.
So we weren't putting on a show. We were actually having fun at work. Like, we would have people who have walkie-talkies up on stand, and they're singing into the walkie-talkies. Like, Alex used to do that.
Sure.
And then at the Y, that never happened because you were expected to be as professional as possible, to not make any jokes, to not have fun at work outside of your breaks. And then during breaks, you were expected to be on edge the whole time. It's like, there wasn't a ton of like having fun there.
Tried to lock it down, killed the vibe.
And it's like, I guess we were under an umbrella at the city pool, but we became the umbrella at the Y, and it was a stiff change from going from the city pool to the Y, because we did have like the slides and stuff, but there was also the areas like the lazy river where it was packed, And us who had been lifeguarding at the city pool, where it was like 100 people in this tiny little area, we knew how to deal with that. The new kids that were coming in and just expected an easy summer job, they didn't know how to deal with that. So I think that's a big thing with communication. Like, our boss should have been able to prioritize and be like, you guys know how to do this. We should put you guys next to the kids that don't know how to do this. And then if there's an emergency, you know how to act.
Yep.
Or you know how to yell at kids. Because it got to the point where even if they were favorites, they might not have been doing their job correctly. It's just as long as you treat your boss well enough is from my experience.
Sure. So the sad part is, and I hope this will not be true for you, but these are the same kinds of problems that
happen everywhere.
Sadly exist. But it's interesting that you're calling them out so specifically. You've experienced kind of like a move from one culture to another culture. One culture that kind of gives employees the opportunity to have some personality and sort of make it their own versus another that's very formal and locked down. You've experienced kind of where you have management who's maybe making decisions based on who they like versus what's best for the work. All of these things are problems that exist in almost every workplace that we need to be aware of. So that's really good that you're seeing those already. Appreciate you calling those out. So let's talk about career, because you are headed into college next year, and you have a short, hopefully 4-ish years or so. And then you either are off to more education or you're off to get a job. The job market is different, right? It's shifting. I don't know if you read about, well, let me ask you this. I know you're up on news. You follow, what do you read about the job market for when you come out compared to maybe how it's been in the past?
Well, when I'm on the internet, it's like the internet tends to be very dire and oh, this is horrible. It's all horrible. And you don't really hear a ton of positive news. And it's like positive news, it doesn't get as much engagement as the negative stuff does.
Sure. So what are you hearing? That's going to be terrible. Can't find a job. You'll be unemployed forever.
And it's just a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't even go to college because you're just wasting money and you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life. And it's that might also come with you not getting the financial education that you should have gotten beforehand, not having the priorities that you needed, or maybe in college you didn't do all of the funding and the budgeting that you needed to be doing to try and pay it off while in school.
Some cases you can't, right? Some cases it's so expensive that you can't. So
it's also choosing the place that's correct for you, because if you can't pay for college, then how are you going to find a job that's going to fit your exact requirement? I've seen a lot of people go to school and they get this education and there's nowhere for them to put that education, and then it just ends up rotting. And it's
you can't use it. You can't use it to get a job to help you pay back all that debt or all those loans. So how are you thinking about it then? So it sounds like the prognosis or the predictions online are that it's pretty dire and that it's going to be hard.
That's also the internet.
That's the internet. All right. So how are you thinking about school? I know at this point you're undecided. You don't know what you're going to study necessarily. As you enter college, how do you think you'll make that decision in context of knowing that you're trying to set yourself up for whatever comes after?
Well, I want to, there's different factors, but, getting a job that will pay enough money, because as good as I am at art, being an artist doesn't fund very well.
There are not many jobs anyway.
Not many art jobs, and that, you would be self-employed, I would be self-employed, and then there's just not a ton of, marketing for it, and it's, not a ton of people are just looking for artists to go and do stuff.
Sure.
And then, because it's also art teacher, but teachers are at an all-time low with pay right now. And it's hard when the financial market is not great right now.
And it's hard work.
Yeah, no, obviously. And then you're dealing with kids who most of them don't want to be there. And then you're trying to...
most. Depends on what school you're in. Depends on what school. Well, I guess that's true. Don't want to. Depends on how old they are, too, I suppose. Yeah. If you're younger, I think kids are different.
Yeah.
If you're teaching
They just
high
want to be with their
schoolers.
friends, but
So we're not going to do arts, loud and clear on that.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about it from a standpoint of what is available or what kinds of opportunities exist where there are jobs?
I want to pick something that's not going to be gone in the next 15 years, like 10 to 15 years, where that job just doesn't exist anymore because of AI. And I want to pick something that I'll like be able to be financially set up for years to come.
Sure.
You know, that will actually pay me something where I can live off of it and survive.
Sure. How do you think you'll end up finding that or deciding on that?
I think it's going to take a lot of like hard work and research. Like you can't just expect to like it to just show up on your doorstep and be like, "Oh, there's this job, you should go do this." And it's like you're going to have to like go scrounging around. And I think it's going to help being in a bigger city that there's going to be a lot of opportunities there to be able to find something that okay, maybe there's like an internship here where I can figure out if I actually like this, or different like job opportunities to be like, okay, maybe I don't like this after all. Maybe I need to rethink my choices. Like I know you did the whole science route and then you ended up going on this path, which is like 300,060 or whatever
degrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
360 degree. Yeah. Certainly 180.
Oh, 100%.
Certainly 180. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of experimentation, a lot of research, trying things, exploring. What do I'm curious when because you're about halfway through senior year, which means half a year from now, 4 months from now, 4.5 months, your classmates are either going on to school or they're going out to hit the trades or they're going out to work, right?
Yeah.
One of the three. What kind of conversation is happening for them? Like, how do they feel about the opportunities or sort of the world that they're entering into? Do you hear anything about that?
Well, I've heard like there's a couple of my friends. There's one girl that I talked to. She's just skipping school entirely and going to hair school because that's what she wants to do. And like, that's her passion. And I'm like, I'm really happy for her. And I hope she finds like a good studio where she can do hair and make a lot of money. But then there's other people like this kid that's in my class and he wants to go do like underwater welding in Florida and then make hundreds of thousands of dollars in like 5 years and then retire. I'm like, good for you.
Go for it.
Like, go for it.
If you can find that.
Like, if you can find that job and you're able to do it, then by all means do it. But like, and then there's other people that are like, I'm going to live at home and I'm going to go to UNO or Metro, get my degree and find a job. And like,
that makes sense too. Yeah. So do they feel that, like, is there a sense, I mean, it feels like people are thinking fairly practically about the reality of needing to find a job.
And that's kind of what it is nowadays. Like money is the main thing that's running everything. So you have to think money wise, because if you don't think of that aspect, then there's a whole, like, you might miss that, like, oh, what I want to do doesn't make a ton of money and I might be stuck at home with my parents for another 10 years until I'm able to afford my own place. And it's like, do I want to stay at home with my family?
I mean, your parents are pretty cool.
I like you guys a lot, but I'm thinking hypothetically with the people in my grade, not everyone gets as lucky as me.
Right. That's fair.
Like, I would be honored to live with you guys for a long time, but I don't know if you want to be stuck with me for another 10 years.
That's true. We would love for you to be successful and out in the world. So not because we don't love you. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about is how sort of, there's so much talk about AI, right? And AI is certainly impacting, I'm sure, how people are thinking about career, right? Yeah. Especially coming out. I mean, you said you want to pick something that is a job that will still exist in 15 years. That is not language that people used even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I want to pick a job that'll still exist. It was like, I want to pick a job where there's enough opportunity to get in, or that I can make enough money, but jobs not existing wasn't a thing. So that's one way for sure that AI is impacting it. But like, how else are you seeing the kind of, as AI is getting into all sorts of different places, how are you seeing that impact how maybe your peers, your friends that are graduating are thinking about jobs and career?
Well, with AI, it's a lot of the stuff with it is that it can get to the point where it's going to be as intelligent or more intelligent than humans are. And while it might not be physical yet, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen. And you can try and be like, oh, I don't think that's going to happen very soon. It could happen in the next 5 to 10 years because the possibilities are endless. And so with me, I want to be able to pick something where I know that my job is not going to be gone and that I won't be losing this whole path of work. Because I know a lot of people are worried about it and they're all like, well, yeah, my job's not going to be there.
So when you think about that, I mean, one of the things that's interesting is that I know jobs are changing a lot. So while some jobs go away or maybe will go away, a lot of jobs, almost probably every job is going to change.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to evolve and change and be different. Parts of it will go away, parts of it will emerge. So as you think about that, what do you think is going to be important to learn or be able to do or to build this capability so that you can kind of grow and adapt with your work, with your job, as AI and other technologies start to interrupt it? Are there things that you think will be really important?
I think it's people are going to have to realize AI is practical. It's easy because you can look something up and then you have an automatic answer. And I think a lot of people are going to have to realize okay, I need to be able to be dependent and do this on my own. At school, kids are going to have to, it's just going to be there. They're everyone gets computers, everyone has phones. AI is just, it's so easily accessible, and they're going to have to be able to prioritize their own education over accessibility and just easy. Because it's just if I have an essay I need to write, just throw it into AI, writes it for me, copy paste, put it in there, and my essay's done.
Right.
But you're not learning anything when you do that.
Right.
So with work, you have to be okay, if I use AI right now, is that helping me in the future, or is that gonna just end up hurting me? In college, I see people who are studying to be nurses or doctors, and then if they end up using AI, how are they gonna know when their patient codes,
right,
or when they have a medical emergency, or they're in surgery, and how are they supposed to know if AI did their assignments for them?
Right. And I think too, on top of that, so what I hear in there is the ability to learn is a skill in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
Right. You're going to have that. I think what I also heard you say is you don't you have to learn how to create and process information and problem solve.
Mm-hmm.
I also heard, I think a little bit in there, that if you outsource all of your decision making and your creation and your work, then you don't learn how to do those things. Mm-hmm. Right. You're going to have to put yourself in situations to learn how to do those things. Yeah. Those become skills.
Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. Any other general thoughts about what's your general feeling about AI overall? How do you think people should be thinking about AI right now?
I think it's inevitable. It's going to be everywhere. It's something it's growing so fast, and it's becoming so much better, so much quicker, that people are going to have to accept it, because it's going to be a non-negotiable in life. I think that there should be regulations put on it, and I think that with there can be so many fake news can be put out, and you don't know if it's real or not, because it looks real, right, and they sound real, but they might not actually be real people, or that news may be completely fake and you don't know.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be regulations put on it, or at least filters or markers to put this is generative AI, so then people at least know.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's going to be people that are going to get catfish, the older generation might not know.
Be harder to tell. Yeah, if you don't, especially if you're not
tech savvy, people
right,
my age are, because we are most of the time we're going to be able to tell, but with it getting better and better, I wasn't there was a video I saw that I was oh, that's AI? I didn't know.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Right? So it almost sounds like one of the skills we need to develop is the ability, you're going to have to develop a skill around, I'll call it there's skepticism or discernment, really being able to sort of think through what you're seeing, if it seems too good to be true, or it seems to be so perfect to validate your belief, that you're going to push back on it because it doesn't like you're going to have to learn to second guess things that you've always just taken as fact, which is going to be really
Which is also a thing with like education is like you should not trust every single thing that you're fed.
Right.
Like,
but we have to teach people to, which means education probably needs to be different starting from school age. We need to teach kids to be questioning of everything.
And not trust everything you see on the internet. Like we see a lot of that stuff, and there's going to have to be lessons in like tech classrooms. Like we used to get online bullying stuff, but they're going to have to put stuff with there's AI everywhere.
Right.
And you can't trust everything you see online, and
you can't trust most of the things.
You can't trust, and then like there might be people online that aren't even people.
Right.
Like, when we were kids, we had to worry about like people preying on us since we were little and online, but they might have to deal with like people who aren't even people.
AI agents that aren't even, it's...
And then there's so much that they can have millions and millions of bots just going and going, and there's no end to the resources there.
It's scary. Yeah, I think regulation is necessary, but also we have to be really... I think I'm hearing you say we have to sort of adopt some responsibility and accountability for sort of getting out ahead of this stuff ourselves.
We can't depend on the people who created it to regulate it because they're not going to.
Clearly not.
So it's going to like depend on people who are online all the time to be able to be like, this is not okay. We need to get laws and regulations on this. And there's people that are in office right now that can do that. And like there's people that have that motivation, and they just need the votes behind it, and we need to be able to put it into law books. Yeah,
put it in. You're right. Protect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bailey, thank you. I always do a one-word checkout with my guests. So I always say at the end of our conversation today, what one word best describes how you are feeling right now?
Priorities. Because I think you need to prioritize yourself right now. You need to prioritize your mental health, prioritize your education, prioritize the people around you, prioritize the communication that you have with the people you love or the people that help support you. Like, keep your priorities set, and then don't stray from them. Don't forget your priorities, because if they already a priority to you, they are really important. You shouldn't forget that, because they are things that you need to like hold close and remember to do.
And the world is trying to distract us all the time. Yeah. My word is proud. Because I'm proud to be your dad.
Aww.
And I'm going to miss you next year. So thank you for joining me. I love you. You are my favorite daughter. I know.
Really?
Really. Yeah. Yep. Favorite daughter. Of all my daughters, you're by far my favorite.
So, gold star.
Yep. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this as much as I have enjoyed being on this side of this conversation. I hope maybe there's a few nuggets and insights that will maybe help you think a little bit about how people different or at different generations are seeing some of this. I think there's a lot of wisdom in what Bailey said today. And so thank you for being here. And as always, I would like to remind you to reach out and check in with those who you love, those that are most important to you, particularly this time of year. Reach out, check in, see how they're doing. It may be the most important thing that you can do today. It's been my privilege to spend this year with you, and I take that privilege very seriously, and I'm very honored. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you again in 2026.